Here's a list of players who have most often scored 25 or more goals in national championships. These are, without exaggeration, great footballers, distinguished by their consistency and incredible goal-scoring prowess over many years. And now, take a look at the number of such seasons for Messi and Ronaldo. This is no longer just consistency, it's another universe. And the most astonishing thing is that this is just one of many statistics that prove how unattainable they were. And here's what I thought. Instead of deciding for the 100th time which of them is better, let's look at how two men rewrote every possible record, changed our perception of football, and set a new standard of greatness. And at the same time, let's ponder what it would even take to get close to them.
It's hard to compare players from different generations, but the numbers, the statistics of these two are truly extraordinary.
Let's start with Ronaldo. He's always been an example of extraordinary hard work and insane motivation. He'll soon be 41 years old, with over 22 years of a top-level career behind him, and he's still in the game. He's the top scorer in the history of football. As of the recording of this video, he has over 949 goals in official matches. And this number is not just big, it's frighteningly unreachable. And this is not even the limit. But there's something that makes him unique even more than the goals. Ronaldo is, perhaps, the most adaptable footballer in history. He managed to dominate in England, Spain, and Italy, and he's the only player to have become the top scorer in each of these three top leagues. He's won league titles, domestic cups, super cups, the Champions League, the Golden Boot, and the Ballon d'Or, and all of this with two different clubs, Manchester United and Real Madrid. This is a level that no one's even come close to. The fact that he managed to maintain such consistency throughout his entire career is another thing that truly sets Ronaldo apart. We're not talking about 2 or 3 seasons at his peak, followed by years of decline. No, Ronaldo scored 60 or more goals in a calendar year for 4 consecutive years, and at least 50 for 7 consecutive years. This is a phenomenal level. Almost every one of Ronaldo's records is a story in itself. He holds the record for goals for a national team, 143 goals, for hat tricks, and for matches played at the national team level, 225 games. But his achievements in the Champions League are a separate chapter. He's the most prolific player in the tournament's history, 140 goals. For comparison, Messi has 129, Lewandowski has 105, and the rest are not even close. But here's an interesting point. This record could be broken. With the new Champions League format, more matches are played, which gives players like Haaland or Mbappe a good chance to catch up to Cristiano. Even Ronaldo's record for goals in a single season, 17 goals, may now be under threat. But if someone ever does catch him in total goals, there's one area where he'll likely remain untouchable: goals in the knockout stages. In knockout matches, he's scored 67 goals. Messi has 49. Lewandowski and Benzema have 34 each. For context, Haaland currently has only 16 goals, and Mbappe has 24. And now, pay attention. If you remove his goals from the round of 16 and only count the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals, he has 42 goals. This is more than any other player has in all knockout stages combined, with the exception of Messi. Ronaldo is truly a player for the big matches. He's the only one to have scored in 3 Champions League finals. Only 6 players in the history of the Champions League have won the Golden Boot more than once. Messi's done it 6 times. Ronaldo, 7.
I mean, first of all, if we want to speak about Cristiano's career, we need an hour or 2. I will not take so much time. Fantastic 140 goals in the Champions League. Such a dedication, such a successful career. I don't see how it could turn better for you. You know, if we think about Champions League, if we think about Euro, we think about Cristiano. If we think about football, we think about Cristiano. So, an amazing career, amazing player that absolutely deserves this. So, congratulations.
As you know, the Champions League and the goals, they are like the ketchup. When you start, when you open, they're coming in the same way.
They were for you.
And now we move on to the man whose numbers, perhaps, cannot even be explained. Messi is genius in its purest form. His records seem impossible. 474 goals in La Liga, 46 trophies, 8 Ballon d'Ors, 2 World Cup Golden Balls. But all of this is just the top of the iceberg. On the screen are the top players for goals and assists in the top 5 leagues of the 21st century. Zlatan, Benzema, Lewandowski all have surpassed the 400-point mark. Ronaldo, 646. A significant gap, it would seem. But then comes Messi, and the gap between him and Ronaldo is almost the same as the gap between Ronaldo and everyone else. He changed the very definition of an attacking player. Messi's not just about goals. What also sets him apart is his unique ability to create chances. Assists are not always an objective metric, as they depend on a teammate's finishing, so they can't provide the full picture. But there's a metric for chances created, and here, a player's creativity is evaluated regardless of the outcome. In the history of Europe's top 5 leagues, only 2 players have managed to score more than 25 goals and create more than 25 goal-scoring opportunities in a single season. Mohamed Salah and Messi have done it, but the difference between them is that Messi's done it 7 times, while Salah's done it only once. Furthermore, Messi achieved 30+30 in these metrics 3 times. Such a balance between goal scoring and creativity is beyond fantastic. But if I had to choose a period that demonstrates all of Messi's greatness, I'd probably choose the year 2012. 91 goals in a calendar year, a record that is still hard to believe. In that same season, he scored in 21 consecutive La Liga matches, also a record-breaking streak. To truly understand how unique Messi was in 2012, you just need to look at the screen. You could see the players with the most goal contributions in a single season in the top 5 leagues. Henry surpassed the 60-point mark, Ronaldinho 50. Not bad, you'd agree. But then Messi appears, consistently hitting 70, 80, and suddenly, the 2011-2012 season. 102 goal contributions, a 3-digit number. He surpassed even himself. There's nothing left to analyze here. It's beyond explanation. And now for the main point. If you're still arguing about who's better, Ronaldo or Messi, I'd like to show you something that'll change your perception and admiration for them forever. Before these two took over the football stage, the average number of goals needed to become the top scorer in La Liga was about 27, and the record for goals in a single season belonged to Hugo Sanchez, 38 goals. But then, their time came. The 11-12 season. Messi scores 50, Ronaldo 46. In the 14-15 season, Ronaldo and Messi both score more than 40 goals. They had 3 seasons in which they each scored over 40 goals. And that's just in La Liga. The only player who even came close to them was Suarez, when he managed to score 40 goals. Now, scoring 25 goals in a league season is not always considered an elite result, because we just recently watched 2 guys consistently scoring 40. On one hand, this was an era that gave us the impossible. On the other, it broke the standard of greatness. Before, a great footballer was someone who scored 30 goals in a season. Now, 30 goals is just a good season. A simple example, Lewandowski and Suarez are forwards who, in any other era, would have become symbols of their generation. But alongside Messi and Ronaldo, they became part of the background, supporting characters. Although by all measures, they should have been the main protagonists. They raised the bar so high that now many legends of the past seem to have lost some of their weight. Take Johan Cruyff, for example, who many consider one of the greatest footballers. 3 European Cups, 3 Ballon d'Or, a legendary career that seemed impossible to surpass. But you have to agree, it now looks a bit modest compared to Ronaldo's 5 Ballon d'Ors and 5 Champions League titles, not to mention Messi's 8 Ballon d'Ors. And for a whole generation of footballers who were unlucky enough to play in the same era as them, the situation's even worse. Their achievements have been devalued. If it weren't for Messi and Ronaldo, players like Xavi, Iniesta, or Neymar would have several Ballon d'Ors each. But how did they manage to break so many records and create a level of their own? Why them specifically? The answer lies in their consistency. For 2 players of the same era to be at their peak not only at a young age, but to remain there well into their 30s is unheard of. They shattered the typical footballer's life cycle we're used to. Peak, decline, oblivion. For them, the peak simply never ended. If you add to this the complete absence of serious injuries, consistency of form, regular goals, assists, and trophies, it becomes clear that getting close to their level is practically impossible. Since turning 30, Ronaldo's won 3 Champions Leagues, league titles in 2 countries, a European championship with his national team, and 2 Ballon d'Ors. His career after the age of 30 is better than the entire career of 99% of footballers in history. And Messi's won the Ballon d'Or in 3 different decades. While others were hanging up their boots at 35, he was lifting the World Cup trophy. Of course, in modern football, the age limit has risen. Ibrahimovic, Modric, Lewandowski, Benzema, they all play longer than was previously customary. But let's not forget, Messi and Ronaldo started at 18 and stayed at the top for 2 decades. They outlasted more than 1 generation of wonder kids who were supposed to replace them but never could. The echo of that era also affects the perception of new stars. When people started talking about Vinicius potentially winning the Ballon d'Or, the newsfeed filled with comments like, the worst winner in history, because his numbers aren't Messi's or Ronaldo's. Although, in fact, these are the same kind of numbers that used to lead to a Ballon d'Or before the era of the 2 giants. And here's the question: will we devalue the achievements of future players just because they don't measure up to Messi and Ronaldo? The answer is yes, most likely. We won't be able to help ourselves. But let's see what it would actually take to even get close to them. Take Ronaldo's goals. The number's still growing even now. Though he's 46 years old, he's definitely aiming for 1,000 goals. But if we exclude his matches in Saudi Arabia, he's left with 836 goals at the top level. The closest active player are Kane and Lewandowski. To catch him, they need to score 40 goals every season until they're about 41 years old, which is practically unrealistic. Okay, there are 2 other candidates, Mbappe and Haaland. Their pace is faster, but even they would need to score 40 goals per season for 13 to 15 consecutive years to catch him, with no slumps, no injuries. Yes, they've already managed to score 50 goals in a season, but maintaining that level in a top league for 15 years is a completely different story. Now, Messi. He has over 1,372 goal contributions, goals plus assists. And that's without counting the MLS. Let's imagine an 18-year-old wonder kid, for example, Lamine Yamal. If he manages 66 goal contributions every season, he could catch Messi by the time he's 38. Just think about it. He would need to maintain that level for 20 consecutive seasons. To understand the scale of this, only 7 players in the 21st century have even once had 66 goal contributions in a season. Mbappe is the only one who's done it twice. Not counting Ronaldo and Messi. Ronaldo had 6 such seasons, and Messi had 8, and they often had far more than 66. To repeat this, you need perfect conditions, super discipline, a top club, no injuries, eternal motivation, and, of course, a little bit of football magic. That's why, looking at all this, we understand what Messi and Ronaldo did is an exception, not the rule. And the most amazing thing is that they did it at the same time. Their rivalry became the fuel that drove them higher and higher. One couldn't afford a weak season because he knew the other would take advantage of it. They raised the bar not only for themselves, but for all of us. They changed the very definition of greatness, and perhaps forever. And, of course, a huge thank you to you, the viewers. It's for you that we work and strive to do better. Subscribe to Goal Story, because even more unique content, new stories, and real football emotions await you.